Hi everyone, it's Doug from Bjorn Territory. Welcome back to my channel. In this episode, it's the beginning of a big project. As you can see in this episode, I'm building something far greater than I've probably built on this whole channel. So much so I can't fit it in the camera from where I am. So if I lift you up, take you for a journey, I am beginning my Dawnbringer Crusade. I'm going to show you how to build a Metalith. Okay, like many of you, I've been really inspired by the Dominion box set. And in the core rules, maybe you've spotted it. Here we go. It is a little breakdown of the layout for each Sigmarite strong point. It's preordained by the decree of Sigmaris, whatever that means. But basically, let's get that bookmark out of the way. I love this artwork. And as we see on the range in Age of Sigmar, a little bit more terrain's popping up. And I like it, but I thought I'd give myself a go and get a bit excited and do it myself. First step in this new project for my Dawnbringer Crusade is the Metalith itself. That's what we're going to try and achieve. Okay, so starting the build of my Metalith, I've decided I'm going to make it's 12 inches long and 9 inches wide. And I've got these spare bits of XPS foam that must have been used for something else, but I don't remember, but I've got a box of them. So it's going to be quite a big piece of terrain. It's going to be quite a meaty project. So what I've done, I've pinned these three pieces together and they're scrap, so I've used them for other things, and then I'm going to piece another bit on top. So what I'm going to do is use toothpicks or bits of dowel, anything a bit of sharp wood basically. Set it in one side. Obviously I'm going to do more than one, but this is just to set off and demonstrate to you. Bunch of PVA, set it across the rest of it. And what this will do, provide a little bit of strength to the bond. And then using those spikes, set the XPS foam, pierces through, joins onto that piece, and it will bond really tight. Place a heavy object on top and let that dry. Okay, now the Metalith's XPS foam, the base is kind of stuck together. All my scrap blocks, bit of a mess. Now it's time to sculpt it, change it, make it look more like the rock shape that I'm looking for. So what I'm going to do, trusted bread knife, I'm just going to start to come at it, taking chunks off, slowly making my Metalith into more of an organic upside down rock shape. All right, so just going to take off the edges to begin with. Add in those textures back into it. A messy job, but personally I find quite fun. Okay, so I've managed to carve my upside down rock, my Metalith, into kind of the rough shape I want, with a flat base for the top and a couple of jutting out rocks. So what's next? Next I'm going to come in with the Geek Gaming Scenics modelling compound and start to fill in some of the gaps and crevices that I didn't want, tidy up some of the rocks and make it more organic looking for the whole base. Okay, the modelling compound, I really like this stuff. It works really well. Basically, on the back of the bag, it gives you instructions of how to do it. And it's 3 points compound. I just use my kids' drinks cups. 1 point water. Okay. And then you mix that in, get stuck in, and it turns into like a porridge. Okay, as you use it, just take a dollop, it gets stuck in, and what it does, it binds to your surface and it goes rock hard in about 45 minutes. But in the first 15 minutes after application, you've got a bit of time to smooth it out and apply it. Yeah, you've got 15 minutes ready to smooth it out and change it and make changes, adapt it to how you want it. See? All right, and I'm going to go around tidying up the cracks and crevices that I didn't want and applying this in to get a bit of an undulating surface to my Metalith. Okay, so my modelling compound is in and it's dry, quite quick. Made the shape, an upside down, it's like an upside down mountain, I suppose. So I've managed to make sure most of the cracks are out of the way. It's all in place. And it's starting to be a bit like what I'm intending it for it to be. So it's building up nicely. Next thing, to seal it, I'm going to come in with Mod Podge and my mix with black acrylic. And with this, not holding back, just getting stuck in, slapping it on, covering the entire thing. So I've used a bigger brush this time to hopefully make my life a little bit easier. Okay, so the black acrylic and Mod Podge is dry. It's now time to get a bit busy with my first colour, which is like a grey. And I'm just coming in with a large brush, getting my first light grey. First coat of grey is on. Now coming in with a slightly darker coat, just to blend it in. Get some darker shades going in. Right, now that the grey paint's on and drying, I've got a couple of different tones of grey now, which makes it a bit more interesting. I'm now going to slap on my homemade black wash, and just get it in all the nooks and crannies. Okay, if you notice, rocks aren't just grey, so what I'm going to come in with is a little bit of brown. This is like a burnt sienna. I'm going to stipple into some of the parts of the rock, just to add a bit more colour, change into it. And I'm doing this whilst it's still a bit wet, so it kind of blends in a little bit more. I'm stippling it. Now with some white acrylic, I'm just going to dry brush some of the rock. Get some of those textures back in. Okay, so the dry brushing of white's happened and it's starting to look more rocky-like. Bit of brown in there, the layers of the washes, etc. It's coming along. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to chuck some PVA glue on it for some flocking. So I'm just going to do the top bit first and then I'll work for the undercarriage. Now that I've got the PVA glue on, I've got another bag from Geek Gaming Scenics, got base ready, and this is the patchy planes. So all I'm going to do is give it a bit of a sprinkle. And you get a lovely range of different bits and pieces, different sized stones and dusts, sands, bricks. Bit of green flock in there as well. Now it's time to seal it with the matte scenic sealant from Geek Gaming Scenics. And it will hold all my base ready materials in place. Before I finish, I'm just going to add a bit more flock. I want to get in some grass, just a little bit more greenery, sort out the bottom of the rock. So back in with my PVA glue in the areas where I want my base ready materials. So I've added more of the base ready materials. I decided to put a pot underneath it, hopefully to catch more of it. Change angles, and then I'll repeat it on all 4 sides. More PVA. All right, now it's something I need to do that I don't like doing, and that's wait. A bit of patience now. See what happens. To give my Metalith a bit of height, I've decided to use one of the 120mm oval bases from Games Workshop for their flyers. And this is one of my old ones that I've just painted flat grey. What I'm going to do, I'm going to come on with some PVA and base it, and hopefully it'll give it a bit of height for my Metalith with some white PVA stuck in. Once covered in PVA, what I do now is put it on my bit of card, and I'm using Geek Gaming Scenic's Base Ready, and this is the patchy plain stuff that I'm using. So I'm just going to scatter it on. There you go, and then I just take off any excess and leave that to dry. Just to make sure that all stays in place. I'm coming in with the Geek Gaming Scenic's matte sealant seal it. Sorry, wrong way around. Matte Scenic sealant. A little bit of a spray. And hold everything down where I need it to be. Okay, so the base is dried. Looks quite cool, but obviously I've got some black paint that's stuck on there. It'd be best if I didn't have the black paint on there, but I might put a few big rocks to cover it up. Hide those mistakes. That's a great thing about terrain building. You can make some happy adjustments, or make the adjustments. All right, what's next? The whole purpose of this is so it gives my Metalith a little bit of height. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a cross shape, like the top of that, into the bottom of my Metalith, and then slide it on, and I'll show you. Okay, so there it is, there's my Metalith, standing proud. Got a nice height on it, gives the illusion of it floating now. Fairly chuffed with it, I think it's come out reasonably well. I'll bring you around this side. I've added a few extra bits on there, some little details, some chains, some hooks. I'm thinking I might need to make some sort of beast to be pulling this Metalith along. But for now, oh, I dropped the camera. For now, that's stage 1. Quite happy with it, and I reckon that's complete. Right, so what's next? Where do I take this project? I'm gonna carry this on. I've got a few little builds that I want to develop with it, and I hopefully keep you interested. And you enjoy this, maybe follow along. And I'm gonna build my Dawnbringer Crusade. I'm gonna bring it to life. So I'm gonna do a series of additional builds for my Metalith. I've got the main structure now, my floating Metalith, but a few things I wanna do. I wanna have some fences and watchtowers. Build some pillars and boxes, crates, etc. for supplies for the Dawnbringer Crusade. Have a domicile shells or shelters that they have, like pop-up shelters for when they create their new settlement. Have a go at doing an Nexus siphon. I hope I said that right. And I want to make a nice gate. Really like the illustrations. I picked some of the bits that I liked from it, with guardian idols either side and a nice gate. And hopefully it will be all modular and I can pop it on top of the Metalith. Might have to make another Metalith, and remove it and place it down on the table as if it was a Dawnbringer Crusade. So if you like what I'm doing and you're kind of a bit interested in what I'm producing, feel free to follow, like, subscribe, all that stuff we're going to say at the end of the video, and I will catch you next week.